I'd like to call the Master Plan Implementation Committee to order to do, outside check. Do roll call.
Rita Garrett.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Jack Lynch.
Rodney Dixon. And LakeCAM is recording the meeting. If I could have you all stand to face the flag and for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Seeing that we have a quorum, we review and possible vote to approve the meeting minutes from January 9th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Meet with representatives from Historical Commission and the Open Space Commission to review their priorities and goals on the master plan implementation chart updated on January 9th of 2024. Representing the Historical Commission is Nancy LaFave, and Open Space is David Zelonis. Do we have a preference on who goes
Nancy
first?
would like to go first. She has to be at another meeting.
Okay, Nancy, you first, please. Thank you for meeting with us.
It would be typically Joan Gladue Morton, who would be the representative, but she's not able to come here tonight.
Okay. So just, if you have anything prepared, wonderful. What we're trying to do in this committee is just meet with the committees that have a vested interest in the master plan and to see where each committee's at. We had in the past met with separate committees, but we hadn't for a long time. And so what we're doing is updating the matrix to the best of our ability. And then we're circling back now, since we've been doing this for a couple of years, circling back to the committees. So within your packet, you have the matrix that is the most updated. And if you want to reference a status or a goal, when you reference it, if you could reference it by the strategy, that would help, or the goal, either one. Goal being the second column and strategy being the third column, if it pertains to your committee. And if not, then you can just give us a general overview of your committee and how it relates to the master plan. And if you are doing anything in particular with the master plan in mind.
Okay. I'm on page 5, and I'm on Natural Cultural Resource Goals 5.2, Complete and Implement Historic Preservation Plan. And that's one of our long-range plans that we're going to complete this year, 2024. So we are currently working on it, and we have funds that were appropriated at a previous town meeting that we'll be using to do two or three parts of that. So yes. And we were working with the planner and the town administrator, who are no longer with us. So there'll be a little transition and skip to get going on that.
Okay.
So the next one, unless you have any
Could I just
questions.
ask, who was the consultant we were able to hire?
We haven't hired anyone yet.
Okay.
We're still in the search process to find. The last individual, his company still exists. We're not sure if he is actually part of it or not. So we started with him, Mr. Krim.
So I'll change this to read you will be working with a consultant.
Right.
Instead of currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next one right under that is the Natural and Cultural Resources Goal 5.3. Consider creating historic districts where appropriate. Lakeville does not have a historic district. In order to do that, we have to have permission. I believe it's through there's a whole process, but the Board of Selectmen have to be on board with that. We have talked about doing the area that starts where the historic library is, at the intersection of Bedford Street, Main Street, and Precinct. and doing, if you start at the library, Sampson Cemetery, the historic townhouse, the Lakeville United Church of Christ, which was the site of Sampson's Tavern and the Washburn House, and then Dickon Durand Square, which is a World War I memorial. So that whole area, the only property not owned by the town is the Lakeville United Church of Christ. And that was the precinct church, which was down at the intersection of Route 79 and Precinct Street.
Moved the whole thing up here.
Do you remember the day they moved that?
In the 1970s, they moved it.
72.
Mr.
Was it
Church
72?
moved
Yeah.
the church, yes.
Mr.
It's a
Church
whole-
from Rochester moved houses. It was amazing what
It
he
would-
could do.
And today, it's because we have so many, telephone poles and wires.
Right.
But in the 70s, we did too, but historically, nobody ever, if you had a school and the population changed, you just rolled it down the street to the
George
next.
Church, remember him well.
So
Amazing.
what we've talked about in the past is that this would be a logical place to start. And because there are all so many historic buildings that are really crucial and a part of our history and everything. So that would be the plan, and before we can do that, we have to kind of do the thing above and also make sure that our inventory is comprehensive in regard to Mass Historical Commission.
So when Lakeville seceded from Middleborough
Yeah.
in 1853,
Mhm.
and they started doing their business, it was never designated, like from 1853 to today, we've never had a historic
No,
district.
and the historic districts really didn't come about until I think about the time of the bicentennial in the 1970s.
Okay.
And they started doing a lot of work prior to 1976, which was the anniversary. So the historic townhouse is the only structure in Lakeville that is on the National Historic Register. So it's also on the inventory for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have one other site, and it's the Royal Wampanoag Cemetery down on 105, near the water. So that is the only site. So we only have two things in Lakeville. So it would be nice to have a historic district because the precinct church, which is what the Lakeville United Church of Christ is, was moved from up on Route 79 and precinct. So that was the 1853 building too. So, I mean, we have three structures. The library would be the youngster in the group in 1900s. And of course, the World War Memorial Park for Dickon Durand, who was the only fatality that we had in the war. So, yeah, it makes a very logical sense. And the other thing is that a lot of the people who were vital to town government are also buried in Sampson Cemetery. So it's sort of a double thing there.
Yeah, it's a logical location.
So that would be the thing that we would want to do first.
Okay, thank you.
And
And
can
then
I just ask Nancy, a comprehensive inventory,
Yes, that is the
do you have a
thing.
consultant doing that for you, or? are
That
you
would be
doing-
what so the consultant would also be working on that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's
And
called,
basically, we have
Compre-
to satisfy the requirements from Mass Historical Commission, which has said our inventory was not comprehensive. That's why we couldn't do any further designations for like historic sites or anything like that.
and do we have funding for that?
Yes,
Okay.
that was part of the money. The third element of the money was given the town is we wanted to have National Historic designation for Thompson Hill Cemetery, because Precinct and Thompson Hill are side by side.
Yes.
It was from Precinct Church, that was and we were the western precinct of Middleborough, so that's where the name sort of comes from. And we have a lot of very old burials at that cemetery too, and a lot of people, we have 2 table stones, which are now CPC money is gonna repair those. They're up off the ground, and they have a flat piece, and they are sitting up on legs. Well, they're not sitting up on legs, that's what's one of the restorations. So we have 2 of those that are there, which are very unique in town, so,
And there's stones in there from the 1700s, correct?
right.
My memory serves, that's great, thank you.
When we were not part of Lakeville, we were Middleborough.
Yeah.
The last one is on page 6, and here, Natural Cultural Resources Goal 5.4.
Mhm.
And it continues to support the existing and future historic and cultural events in the town, and it is the one that's underneath that, the second one, 54-2. And support efforts to investigate the possible merging of the town's historical commission and historical society. People get us mixed up all the time. Part of the reason is many of us are on both. So the population is part of the problem. The historical commission is, of course, the town government appointed. The historical society is a private organization, nonprofit, and they run the museum. But as I said, some of us sit on both boards, and the board and the commission. So one of the things that's happened over the last 20 years to small towns that have historical commissions and historical societies is that our population has died off, is the only way to put it. History is sometimes something that people get interested in, especially the area they live in, especially an area like Lakeville, which has a rich, over 10,000 years population of native or indigenous people that lived here, and the whole thing about how the sea captains had their farms here, but they were sailed out of New Bedford or Fairhaven or Fall River and stuff like that. So people get interested sometimes when they're adults, and we try to keep them interested when they're children, but we don't always have people that want to belong to an organization. They may be interested in finding out information about their property or their house or their ancestry, but they don't always join the group to help run the show. So what we found out in some small towns, and Lakeville still is, I think is considered, we think of it as a small town, is that the population has dwindled to the point where they don't operate anymore. And the members are more your senior population. So it's something we're thinking about. I'm talking now as a member of the Historical Society. We have heard good things and bad things. People get nervous. They think, well, what if we had a board of selectmen and a FinCom that said things are really bad? We need to generate some income. Why don't we sell the collection of the museum? And people get nervous about that sort of thing because people have given us objects of historic notoriety or value that have to do with Lakeville's history or southeastern Massachusetts sometimes. And they gave it to us with the understanding that it would be on display or be exhibited from time to time. It would go to special programs on a special topic like farming. We have a huge area of farming in material. And they would be, the idea is if we dissolved, we would have to kind of find the ancestor, the next few generations and see if they wanted things back. Which does present a problem. So I think that is probably maybe one of the biggest things. And then the idea of not having autonomy is
There's
another
a lot to
issue
be said for
people.
autonomy.
Yeah. So it would have to be, I don't think it would be feel that we would want to have it be a thing we were forced to do, but we'd have to have a lot of consideration and kind of understand the pros and cons more.
Well, I think for master plan, there's no funding from the town to help the society.
No, and you
And-
don't fund private organizations.
Right.
So right now we have an issue with the cupola at the museum. It needs to be repaired. And so we have applied for a CPC grant, and we have been accepted for stage 1 or level 1, and we're going to the second level to see if the committee will then approve it and then refer it to town meeting for support, like they did last fall for the other project. So we will find out all these things.
Is there anything that can be done insofar as get the word out, leveraging social media or bringing it to the attention of others in a way that is appealing and making people want to join?
We are on Facebook, and we do use the Facebook to advertise in the Nemasket newspaper. We used to use the Middleburg Gazette very heavily. The Historical Society does have programs monthly from usually not January because of snow, or sometimes not February because of snow, but usually February to June, and then September, October, and then a program in December. So it's always open to the public, and we have a program coming up next week on next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, and it's about the herring. Everything you want to know about herring in the Middleborough Lakeville area. So we're trying to find topics of interest. We have a Wampanoag chief who's going to be coming and speaking. We hope to have Richard Tripp come and talk about his his experience in the Southwest. And we have Jill Sanford, who does programs, and she's going to talk about revolutionary art. So we do have programs that are open to the public. So, and then the museum opens June, July, August, and September on Saturdays and Sundays. And we're talking about having special days where we say this Sunday or this Saturday is Girl Scout Day, so all Girl Scouts come. It's open free of charge. It's sort of like Lakeville's attic. It's like, not really want to say I'm like the Smithsonian, which is the United States attic, but that's sort of that sort of thing where it's a user-friendly type place that you can just kind of stroll along and check out what's in the display cabinets, and people are willing to talk. And we have 3 buildings. So we have Lakeville's first brand new fire truck, which is not owned by the society. It's owned by the Engine 3 Historical Society, but it's housed with there. So it's fun. And we see all kinds of people that are related that will come in and say, well, this was my great-grandfather or my grandmother or somebody like that.
Is that fire truck, is that a Maxim?
It is.
It is?
It's, yeah.
Of course it is.
Chassis.
If I remember that correctly, yes.
How
Paid
many,
attention earlier.
how many members do you have in the society?
We have about 30.
Oh,
Joe
all
is
right.
one.
Okay.
And that some of those are couples, they're not 30 individuals.
I didn't realize you had so many, so.
We also have a number of our members who are also members of the Middleborough Historical Association, which runs the whole Jackson Street area, where they have a wonderful, many buildings and a lot of interesting programs. And then, of course, East Freetown has a fantastic site that they have. So we're close to a number of really kind of active groups, and we would like to continue to be active as long as possible.
And you work collaboratively with the surrounding?
We always advertise or try to get our members to go to both, all of the different functions, yeah. So we try to do that.
I just wondered how you were able to open the museum Saturdays and Sundays, unless you had, so you have 30 members, that's
We
a
have
lot
members,
more.
yeah, we have hosts and hostesses who are there. Brian Reynolds, who is the president of this of our society and also the chairman of the Lakeville Historical Commission, is there unless he has a postcard meeting or something like that, because he likes windmills, so that's two of his passions. But he is every time I sit there, I take notes, and my husband says, "Don't lose your notes," because he tells stories
so
about
knowledgeable.
Lakeville, because he grew up here and was at one point related to almost everybody in town because of his genealogical lines, but
Right.
and his family had been here for a long
You
time.
mentioned windmills, you forgot covered bridges. He's a big covered bridge fan too.
Yes, and he loves mills,
Mills,
any kind of thing
Yep.
that grinds something, yeah, that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Well, I was
So
with you talk
those
about
people are
history
always
and
willing to come in and listen, and we have a group of regulars who's dropped by,
Yeah.
who are either working on research or they've got a story to tell. Some of which we can't print, but in the next history. But
I know I have a couple of books on history from Mrs. Biggers.
yes,
When
Oh,
she-
yeah.
Yeah, that I find very helpful, and then, of course, the King Philip's War, and
with the commission, and I'll give another plug. In 2028 will be 175th anniversary of the founding of Lakeville. And so we're working, the Historical Commission members have started to form the next anniversary committee. It will probably be most of our last because of our age and the fact that it would be 25 more years and we'd be over 100, some of us, or in our 90s or something. But anyways, so we've started that, and one of the things that we're talking about is doing more walking tours, which we did it for 2003. So we're all trying to get things in line now, and we have people who joined the committee last time for the whole duration. We had people who came on board for just one event, or they stayed with us for a couple of months or a year, because it's usually a 2-year project. So we're doing that for the 2028, which is the next anniversary. So
Hmm.
you're all invited.
Well, thank you. We'll
We
be
should
there.
have a parade and a whole bunch
Yeah,
of
we
other
did,
things.
for the 100th, right?
I
We
beg
had a
your pardon?
parade.
I believe I have photos from the 2003 when my grandma was here, and if my memory serves, it came down right past the Esquamset.
We have pictures from 1978 and, no, 70, yeah, it was after 77, I guess it was, or something like that. And we know people who were in the 1953 parade,
Wow.
and we actually had a baby contest, and somebody in this room was one of the winners. And it wasn't me.
I think it was,
Definitely was not me.
Well, not me, that's true.
Ginny Dunham was cutest, and I was, my temperament, I forget what the word was that they used. Best natured, I think it was.
Best nature.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, there's still people here that were around in 53, which was the 100th. And that's when Gladys's book came out, because she had been collecting stories. Her husband was a highway surveyor at that time. And she would, raising children, but she was really interested in Lakeville history. And she just kept building up notes, and people knew about it and said, well, we need to support you and get this printed for the centennial. So we did have the centennial.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time with my mom this weekend, as late as today, and my mom, whose age won't be revealed, let's say she's seasoned. So she was just telling me these stories about Lakeville, and just, she's from Middleborough originally, Rock Village. Rock Village. Obviously, our family is Tinkham, huge family.
The Tinkhams are waiting here for the Mayflower.
Yeah, they're related to, they came over on the second trip. Ephraim Tinkham was an indentured servant to the Tinker family. And so when his servitude was satisfied and they settled in the area, obviously just kind of the Tinkhams just exploded. But that notwithstanding, my mom was just telling me like today where my grandfather lived. And my grandmother was from East Freetown, my grandfather was from Rock Village, and showed me where he was living at the time my mom was born, and some of the historic houses and the people. And so I was driving. Unfortunately, I didn't have a notepad, but just gleaning information I had no clue on. And to hear it just is so natural about she lived it, and what it was like back then, and Bessie the cow, and and the chickens, and the horses, and yeah, it was just so rural and whatever. But it was actually a very it was a very good opportunity to learn, and I think if we can kind of get that personal touch with the
Even
with the
just
two.
get the information carried over to subsequent generations.
Well, that's what it is. So I like to take, when I get home, obviously, taking notes and just telling my wife about, the
Tape
experience.
recordings are good too, if you can just sit down and tape them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've tried that. Mom's not a big fan of that, but we'll see what we can do. All right. Well, thank you so much. Is there, in the interest of time, I know we're pushing up against 6:30 here. Welcome, Mr. Marshall. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So we were on agenda item number 3, of course, meeting. So.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much. We know
Thank
that you've got a
you for your
7 o'clock
interest.
meeting, and
Yeah, we'll be letting you know how we're doing.
Yep.
But these are some of our goals for 2024.
thank you so much. And so they're
2020's
aligned with
kind
the,
of put a kibosh on a lot of things with the pandemic.
right.
Everything came to a standstill, and it takes a while for people and the services that for people we need to be provided for us to come back. So we appreciate the fact of being asked. And going further, Joan will be the person who will be the actual representative from the commission.
Appreciate that. What we'd like to do at some point in the future is just have maybe a summary, a yearly summary of
What's going on?
Of what's going on and how it relates to the master plan. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I said earlier, what we're trying to do is circle back to the people that we've met in the past, because it's been quite a while since we've done that. So we're just kind of going back back to basics a little bit. So, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
And thank you for taking me early. I didn't mean to bump you, but I did.
Well,
Understandable.
well, thank you. So next on the agenda is Mr. David Zalonis from the Open Space. Turn it over to Open Space Commission.
Me, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm David Zalonis, representing the Open Space Committee. Seven-member committee. We're down to 6 right now. One of the 2 new members appointed last September. So we currently have 1 opening on the committee. Amy Knox, of course, is chairperson.
Thank you.
Patrick used to be on open space.
I know.
Feel free to jump in at any time.
Oh, Dave's doing a
How
good
long
job.
has it been since you were on, Patrick?
Gosh, I don't know.
4?
20, might be like 2018, 19.
Oh, that,
It was about 5 years or so.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
But you remember everything, okay? As far as the master plan goals, open space and recreation is goal 6-2 on page 7, which is the update of the open space plan. That's probably a little more familiar with which is, and the update in January was almost complete. And it is, everything has been submitted and updated except for the final goals, the goals and objectives, which are in final team review to be completed this week.
Great.
And so that is pretty close to being submitted for reviews. And so that is accurate. The specifics on some of these other goals I can't really speak to, but I do have these are the, there's 5 major goals that the Open Space Committee is working to with, sub-objectives to that, and I don't know if you want me to just read through like any of that.
You can read, you feel free if you'd like to. This, just for the people at home, this is the matrix that is the most updated from January. This information is available. If you have additional information that you'd like to touch upon, please feel free.
I can, these goals, I don't know how much they've changed from the previous ones, because I haven't seen the previous ones, but these are the latest ones. I can do this, or if you have any specific questions for me, that'd be fine as well.
I don't have any specific questions. Does any of the team members have specific questions yet?
I think if you were to highlight each of the 5 goals.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, so the goal 1 was to preserve the rural character of Lakeville, and there was like 4 sub-objectives to that, but I don't know if you want me to go to that detail, but it's not, it looks like we have time, so.
yeah,
you want-
We do.
So, in the goal of preserving the rural character of Lakeville, objective 1 is to protect our water resources. Objective 2 is to protect the wildlife corridors and habitats. Objective 3 is to retain and preserve the landscape, cultural, and historical aspects of Lakeville. And objective 4 is establish outreach programs with farmers. And so that's goal number 1. Goal number 2 would be to enhance the open space and recreational opportunities. And sub-objectives, objective 1 would be to establish strong representation with other town boards. Objective 2 would be to improve handicap accessibility at town parks and open space. Objective 3, develop guide to use data for town-owned parks, recreation areas, and open space. Goal 3, through partnerships with local, private, and public groups and outside agencies, establish connections and programs that will promote protection and use of open space. Objective 1 would be to develop programs that encourage residents, especially young people, to understand the ecologic value of open space. And objective 2 would be to develop and foster relationships with local land conservation and wildlife organizations. Goal 4 is to develop a priority protection database of open space parcels in Lakeville. With objective 1 being to create an assessment of open land and develop criteria for acquisition, protection, and preservation. Objective 2 is to place conservation restrictions on valuable parcels, both town-owned and private. Objective 3 is to look at regional links for land acquisition. And the last objective, let's go to goal 5. Create administrative and regulatory structure and channel growth to preserve the unique quality of Lakeville and its natural resources. Objective 1, maintain an effective standing open space committee and a continually updated open space and recreation plan. And objective 2 would be to work to enhance bylaws that protect open space. So that's these are the proposed goals and objectives that are going in the updated plan.
Those are all gonna be in the plan? Cause
Well,
those are excellent.
Yeah, I believe they are. It was in final team review. Joan was gonna finalize it by tomorrow. And so I think that's it.
Fantastic. Any questions?
I did have one.
No, I agree with Rita, that just sounds really well thought out, well done. It certainly covers a lot within
Yeah,
the
absolutely. I was going
overall,
along
which
with
ours is broader up, higher,
Yep.
but, certainly winnows down what we've got in here too, so.
When he talked about the priority protection, we're supposed to be doing the priority protection plan and priority development plan.
Yep.
Ari had said, instead of us having to use our SERP hours and technical assistance, the state is supposed to be funding the update. So hopefully that gets done. That's on page 5, halfway down, goal 5-1. But it's right in line with what, open space.
Yep.
It's in green under strategy.
Yep, under pursue 2024.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now that Ari's gone, I don't know where that, because we hold public meetings,
Yes.
for the townspeople to say what we do have it mapped in the master plan, our priority protection and development parcels. So I don't know I don't think it will change too much.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't foresee it.
Lakeville Hospital's the number 1 priority development objective.
How many members are you?
Well, it's a 7-member committee, but
But you
we're
have only
down
6.
1. Yeah, we're at 6 right now. And 2 of us were newly appointed last September.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, those goals are really, is that an extra set?
Yeah.
Well, it can be. They're not officially in the plan
Okay.
yet, but,
Yeah,
No,
but once
we
they're
can wait.
official, we can get a hold of them.
yeah, and they'll be in the plan.
Right.
Right.
There's a lot of the aims, especially when it comes to land, that obviously work real well with the Conservation Commission, which I'm also on. We're constantly talking about protecting the land that the town already owns or buying the quote-unquote development rights thereof, so that they stay rural.
But I know there's, besides the Lakeville Hospital, Freetown Street, I know that, talking about its property and how it's gonna affect everything, the master plan and our quality of life and all that, so, I mean, we've got a lot of things going on right now, so. hopefully, that'll be ready, those will be incorporated into the official one in the near future, and we can have that available, and
Yeah, I just wanna say, so, once this gets submitted, in the next, probably, May timeframe, somewhere on there, so. Now, it still has to go through multiple approvals before it fully gets released. I don't know how long that whole process takes, but, at some point, I know you, I'm sure you know Joan on our,
Oh, yeah, I went to school with Joan.
yeah, so, I'll mention to her what point she's comfortable with releasing them, or if
Yeah.
it's not comfortable until they're fully approved.
correct. Okay. That sounds good.
But you can always talk.
Yeah, because we didn't have our first open space plan. It was when I was first, back in 2000, I think, Joan Michaud pretty much wrote the whole thing.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, this will only be what, the third one, I think.
Yep. So,
Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
No, this is, a lot of this is all new to me, so, if you wanna just briefly share your overall mission.
Our mission is to implement the master plan. The master plan is required by Massachusetts law. All 351 cities and towns have one. The master plan is a long-term goal or a long-term plan for the town of Lakeville that was created with the input of the citizens. We had multiple workshops over a period of
oh, yes.
a couple of years, I believe, that culminated in this document. The document, at least aspirationally, it's an aspirational document, long-term document. I don't want it, we don't want it to just be a static, plan and put it on a shelf and we want it to be actionable, we want it to be living and breathing, we want it to be fluid. So as things change in Lakeville, we try to adjust that into the master plan. And so we're gonna be reviewing the master plan. Well, we've started to review it now, but every so many years, to dive back into it and to update it and simultaneously updating it as real time as we can. So the history of the committee, we've been around for, I don't even remember how many years.
05, I think.
Yeah, 405. So we're coming up on 20 years that the committee's been together. And the plan has changed. We looked at the first one and then we looked at, it was the first one that we had done, and then we went back a few years ago and we hadn't met as a committee for quite a while. And once we got back together and we looked at it, we saw just how much it changed. So we updated it again with the help of the town of Lakeville residents. We got this matrix together, and then what we realized, a lot of the goals that we had, there was no formal way to communicate when something was accomplished. And once we really started deep diving, we found a lot of it was accomplished, and that's when we really in earnest started updating the matrix. And so this matrix is available to anyone that wants to, to find it. It is on the Lakeville, Mass website. Yep. Our meetings are relatively short. This is for us a relatively long meeting. We try to, in the interest of time, understanding that people's time is valuable, and we value that component. This is like most of us. We're volunteering our time to do this, and so we try to make it as impactful as possible. So, we have a vested interest. We all live here. Most of us grew up here. And so it's near and dear to our hearts. To that end, what I'd like to do in the future moving forward is if we could formalize through a way of, say, a summary from each committee at the end of the year to, what have they done for the year as it relates to the master plan, and let us know, that would be very helpful. And we're gonna continue to meet with other committees until we, until at that time that we decide maybe we don't need to meet with them anymore or as frequently as we would like. We're just starting to circle back now in preparation for some of these updates. So that being said, we thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you. Appreciate
Same
you.
here. Thank you.
And thank you
and
for
what you do.
volunteering.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Not just to come to the meeting, but to be on open space.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Safe travels. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, discuss the meeting with another board, committee, or commission.
If I may, Rod?
Yes.
Under that, you know, where we should go from here, I thought I could update on page 8. We know that, we want a new fire station. Continue efforts to meet the needs, fire department. So I'm gonna change that top one in process. I'm gonna change it to 2024.
Okay.
Anybody listen, go to that Zoom committee meeting today with the fire station?
No,
It was on 2:00. $8 million.
Okay.
Over on Bedford Street.
Where?
Near Ted Williams.
Okay, that's what we had figured.
Was gonna be, the first one was, over by the senior center,
yeah,
but, who's the lady that's in charge of the senior center that?
Laurie Fahey.
Yeah, Lori, I talked to her the other day and she said, absolutely not, because they wanted to have an access road that would vent into her parking lot.
Yeah.
And she said, can you imagine, a ladder truck coming around the corner there and some old ladies coming into the.
And they're gonna have to go through the lights. Yeah, they can stop the lights.
Yeah, they
but
can stop the lights.
That's a dangerous intersection. We have
It
so
is.
many accidents there.
Right.
And even coming from over here through that light, I can remember years ago, our fire chief had said, if we could build it on the parcel next to the current fire station, that is the center of town. And our most important calls go to the school. So if they have to go through, like I said, that traffic light, but I guess that's not on the table anymore to build it next to.
Right.
Has there been any movement or further discussion on a municipality building to include to combine the fire department along with town offices?
Well, this
Have
is
them-
slash
Similar
town
to what
hall.
they are now.
I think that got nixed at the
Yeah.
last town meeting.
No, I did, but I'm asking, has there been any, because I know at one time there was a lot of talk about it. There was some studies, if my memory serves, and it wasn't there. I think there was a feasibility study.
It was to do a police fire station.
Oh, it was police fire, okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
And everyone, those two departments like to have their own facility, and after 911.
Yeah, 9/11 happened, and there was a concerted effort to differentiate
Right.
them to.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
different things, but,
We keep kicking the can down the road, it's just gonna get more expensive. You just said 8 million, I don't remember what it was originally, I think it was like a 1.5 or 1.7. And, now we're 8 times, 7 times that, so the longer we wait, the worse it's gonna get. And I know that at some point, we got to bite the bullet.
fire stations are so much more expensive than police too,
Nate told-
because of the equipment.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you can correct me, you guys can correct me when I'm wrong, but I spoke to Nate today. He said the police station cost $25 million.
Holy
If they were to build it this
right?
year,
Yeah,
Oh, to build it
Right.
now,
yeah, because this,
because it was only 6.
yeah.
right, but, inflation happens and the economy is not in good shape and,
Supply chain.
So anyway, that notwithstanding, at some point it's gonna have to happen and it's gonna be crisis management, right? Much like the fires, much like the police station where they were putting Band-Aids on open wounds for years and finally they just couldn't do it anymore. And they had,
And we've got Old Colony too, that school needs either
right, so I
needs
think
updating.
financially,
Yeah,
we're gonna be in a world of hurt, right? The US economy right now is not doing well. We're 30-something trillion in debt, correct? I think nationwide. Someone's gonna pay the piper. So, you're right, and what I would like to see, just as a citizen, not as a, member of this committee, but as a citizen, to get a estimate of how bad our taxes are gonna be with these things. I think it's gonna be really bad.
well, whenever
It's gonna,
if it's 8 million, they'll do charts that show how a debt exclusion,
Right.
whether they did, typically it's 20 years.
Yeah.
And, I always did different scenarios, if it's 6 million, if it's 7 million, if it's 8 million, if it's 20 years, on the value of, per thousand of your value.
Right. I fear for young people trying to move to Lakeville. I know historically I've heard we have some of the lowest tax rates in the, that's great. But, you know, as we get bigger, we need more services and, yeah, I know, Mr. Chamberlain just showed me something that I almost fell over. But that notwithstanding, notwithstanding, you know, our taxes, I was just talking to my wife earlier, and our taxes of more than doubled since we moved to Lakeville in 01. We got here in February of 01, and our taxes have doubled. And we've done nothing to the house. So, you know, I understand taxes go up, but, you know, with things like the services, like the fire department, the longer we wait, the worse it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No one likes raising taxes, but unless you have a money tree and you can shake it and get a few bucks off it, you know, that's gonna happen. That's gonna have to be the way.
It wasn't that long ago, I remember, I'm not forget who the selectman was. It's gotta be 20, 25 years ago. Someone was building a McMansion somewhere in town. And everyone was in awe. It's gonna be $500,000 house.
Yeah.
Or as we call them today, starter houses.
It's
Right.
you know, and
Just amazing.
Yeah, so if we look at our demographics and how many people over the age of 55, 60, you know, so on in the groups, people on fixed incomes in particular, that they're gonna be hurting. They're gonna get to the point where they have to pay their taxes, or you know, they got to make some hard decisions. Do I take medication? Do I eat?
Do I sell my land?
Do I sell my land that's been in the family for generations? Those are really hard decisions that have to be looked at. And I think with the master plan, now this is great. It's a great document, by the way. It's, you know, there's a lot of work that's gone into it, but you know, there's a cost, and I fear for the cost of the things that we need to do.
And the state will come along and pass various regulations that throw
Unfunded mandates.
all this, you know, these must-fund stuff, we have to pay for something.
be housing.
Unfunded mandates.
Unfunded mandates.
that was,
Right.
you know, one of the,
And then you get things like this, you know, rezoning for congregate housing or you know, high density. So that throws this sort of planning, all kinds of kinks.
Well, I'm actually glad you mentioned it, because I've stated this for as long as I can recall about the high-density housing. It's not in line with the master plan.
Right.
And, you know, the powers that be, and if I recall correctly, having a meeting, speaking to, I think it was Senator Rodericks, a while ago, and when he had a meeting with the select board, and he was excited about high-density housing, and I know the Governor Baker at the time was excited about it, and he uses data. And my comment was something to the effect of, well, he doesn't live in Lakeville.
Yeah.
It's not what we want, and
well,
we will do everything we can. I guess, and I'd asked this question previously, can we do what Middleborough did and said no? Tell the state, no,
look at
we're not gonna do
Milton.
it.
you see Newton?
Milton,
Well, but
Milton was
Milton,
big, yeah.
yeah, so
Is it-
people are starting to rebel, but what I heard recently was when when Middleborough said no, the state cut funding of some
Exactly.
sort to the tune of about $600,000.
There's a whole bunch of different bonds that you could
So-
lose out on. Brents.
Which leads me to other questions that I have asked, and I wish Ari were here right now to help answer the question, but I had asked, if we say no to these unfunded mandates or the incentives, I think I had mentioned the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit one time, with federal funds. Well, you can have any speed limit you want, but you're not gonna get federal funds if it's greater than 55 miles an hour. Same principle applies to the funding that we would be leaving on the table, but keep our principles in line and stick to our guns and say, listen, no, the answer is no. And find out what that financial component is, and then adjust your budget accordingly. Don't count on that money, and stay independent and stay, you know, yes.
My suggestion is, Rodney, that one of the very next committees you have coming is planning board. Listen to Mark Knox. I mean, all these subjects we've been talking about,
Mhm.
we're involved in all of those right now.
Yep.
And, you talk about, we've had several meetings with Serpent, and the term for Lakeville comes up. This is now becoming an affluent community.
By definition, we're affluent, and that's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Lakeville and affluent never went
I
together when I
forget
was
how
growing
People,
up.
more people want to get out here
We're
away
up
from
there.
the city.
I know,
If you look at the globe there, people can't afford to live in Boston anymore, so now they're gonna gravitate either down to this way or out of the state. But I mean, we've had several meetings with Serpent,
Yeah.
which you might find, Mark's, no,
We had Mark
Guys.
come to a
No,
meeting.
no, Mark
He's
was here,
incredible.
he did fantastic, and I'm
Incredible.
very thankful for him and this committee and the information that they passed
and,
along, so.
yes.
Well, I know we wanna, I just wanted to do a couple of updates so that
Yes.
we can get this posted on the website.
Yes, please.
And I just wanted to say on page 8,
Okay.
second down, the window project at Assawamsett.
Yep.
I wanna change it. It is complete and it looks very nice. I don't know if
What
anyone's.
goal, please?
We've already had the tour.
Windows.
Always had the tours already,
Hey,
right?
did you see a picture in the paper? It
Yep,
looks nice.
yep.
Yeah.
What goal, please?
Well, it doesn't have a goal. It's the strategy 7.2.1.
Is it,
711?
Yeah. We approved the funding in November of 2022.
Yeah,
So I'll put the window and door project, 4.2 million is done.
great, thank you.
The question I had, because I've got a beautification project going at Assawamsett with, now that the doors and windows are done, I want to work with the PTO on having mulch donated. I've been doing the buckets there. Jerry Taylor and I have been doing all the buckets around with the flowers and the
Awesome.
mums.
Thank you.
But we need mulch. We need, and I'll need volunteers to help spread the mulch.
Spread the mulch, yeah.
where's this? Where we spreading?
Assawamsett. But if you see the second one, it says a 250,000 sidewalk ADA grant for AES will apply in 2023. I don't know. I have to find out. Ari's gone now, so the next town administrator. Those sidewalks are terrible. I know bringing my mother into the gym at Assawamsett, I'll check with the superintendent of streets too.
Okay.
Because I want to update that. And then in the middle column, complementary actions. Supposedly we were getting $100,000 to repair the playground. And I bring my granddaughter there every day and they have started repairs. So I
Great.
don't know if that's the 100,000. I'm gonna find out about that and update this.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Next one down, services and facilities, 7-2-2. The highway departments, you should really go on a tour. Mohammed that's doing LeBaron, built it. They were in the old portable classroom.
Portable classroom, right,
Yes.
right.
What a beautiful building they have. So,
What street is this on? Where is it?
at the highway barn.
Highway bond.
They added it, it's attached
Yeah,
to
it's
the
right,
highway
right
barn.
next to
Look at
the animal shelter.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'll update this, that building is done,
Okay, great, thank you.
okay? And then the next one after that, 7-2-3, investigate expanding the current senior center.
That's already,
Isn't there a group
it's working on
together?
that, right.
So I'll
Right.
check with
Yeah.
Laurie on
Mhm.
that, where that stands. And I don't know, the next page, top one, goal 7-2. I don't know, the
That's very-
town
very
administrator was
broad term,
working
yeah,
on
yeah.
the transition plan. So again, we'll wait for the next town administrator. Ari had said the grant was extended to June of 2021. And then, and here it says, we'll reapply for the $250,000 sidewalk ADA grant in
In
2023.
2023,
So I'll have to find out about that.
thank you.
So as far as meeting with any Other boards and committees. You know, the police has some on here, the highway superintendent. It's mostly 2027, 2028. I don't know that we need to, maybe if I make all the changes.
Do you wanna table that then for right now and then make the changes and then see where we're at? And then
I'll make the
determine?
changes, get it posted on the website, see what happens. We're gonna have a 5-member board of selectmen
Okay,
in April.
okay.
But as far as us meeting anymore, we've met, I don't know if you wanna meet
I don't think there's any reason to meet at this point.
with police, fire,
Yeah.
or highway,
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
okay?
No, there's no, and again, like I said earlier, I appreciate people's time and I value their time and I don't wanna waste it.
I think,
Well, a lot of these are, as Rita said, too, town administration and select board, and
Yeah.
that's gonna, both are changing
Yeah.
Right, that's,
a lot right
right,
now.
yeah, so thank you for that. That's an unknown at this point.
Although I would make a brief mention, if we're talking about highway department. I wish the guys at the highway department, as they drive around, would pick up the thing that's been lying there for 8 days.
it depends if it's a state road or not.
Oh, yeah, I know that on our
Okay.
town roads. I'm not talking Route 18.
Do you call the
Yeah.
superintendent?
Well, I don't, and that's, I don't wanna stop and screw up traffic and get run into, trying to pick up something and throw it in
But
the back of my truck.
I have to say, whenever I see something and I call Franklin, they take care
They
of it.
take care of it, do they?
So
They're
just-
very responsive,
Yeah.
Okay.
very
Alright.
professional.
I'm just wondering, they must be driving around, the cops must see this. There'll be something out actually impinging on the pavement, they have to be driving around it, and it'll be there for day after day after day, I'm going, somebody must notice this, and, it gives the town a kind of a bad look that way, I'm not talking about a little scrap of paper or a McDonald's bag off to the side, I'm
Right.
talking something more substantial.
Right,
David's pretty good about getting rid of the animals.
Yes,
yes, he is, he's very good, God bless him.
Yeah, the
even
skunk's
on the
gone.
state roads, he'll
Yeah,
do
the
it.
skunk is
The
gone.
skunk is gone on 79.
David will even pick them up on the state roads. Yeah. So I'm thinking, we need to wait for a new
We'll just wait.
town
Yeah.
administrator,
Right, and yeah, that's correct.
and town meeting is in,
Yeah.
June
Yeah,
10th.
so we'll get that, I'll
See
read
if-
the notice.
Yeah, see if
Yeah.
we get, the open space residential,
Okay.
bylaw passed. I don't know if the planning board's still working on that.
Oh, yeah.
So agenda 5, schedule next meeting, we're gonna table, or not table, but we're just not gonna schedule another
Or
meeting at
maybe
this point.
schedule one in June.
Yeah, schedule one 90 days in the future or
Sure,
something.
why not?
Or even, July, cause town meeting, give the,
After the
town,
town
we should
meeting.
have a new town administrator, I hope, by July.
This
Alright, so,
plan's not to replace, Resnick,
Well,
Right.
we need,
plan manager, your town planner.
right.
We're just
Alright.
gonna have it funneled into our department.
alright, so July, you said,
What does everybody think?
Patrick?
Yeah.
I kinda
Third.
think we just hold off and see what's
Yes, well, that was
what's
my,
happening.
Well, that will
that's
push
kinda
me
what my
to-
plan was to, I mean, cause we can always communicate with each other to say, now's the time and, obviously give the appropriate time for notice and posting and,
Right.
but if you feel compelled and you feel strongly about setting a meeting in 90 days,
Yeah, I feel.
I'm
they-
open to,
Not compelled.
And that way, for me, to make sure I've done everything I'm supposed to do,
okay,
I would rather,
Have a target date.
Whatever you
yeah,
want.
July
Okay.
16th.
yeah,
Whatever you want,
Why
whether
not?
you and Rita want,
can't have it on that day,
Why?
cause you just can't.
watch your birthday.
It's
Just
your
saying.
wedding anniversary.
That's a busy 3 days for Rodney, 16, 17, 18.
Okay, so how
I'll be on
about
vacation
August?
that week.
Let's do August. August 20th?
Sure.
Okay, that sounds good. Everyone's schedule okay with that?
Yeah.
Sure. It's kinda like the dentist appointment.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a
What are you
very.
doing 6
And I
months from
know you
now?
call
That
me,
sounds
remind
good.
me, right?
Sounds
Yeah.
good. That's exactly.
Yeah.
what I
August
say
20th.
every time too, when they're,
Same
"What are you
time?
doing?"
Same
I
time,
don't know.
6 p.m.
6, and does 6 work for everyone? Is
Yeah.
that work okay
I
for?
like it.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So
I just wish they'd get a shade for that window.
Why?
Why?
this
well,
one?
This one, well, at a certain time of the year, on this side, the searchlight's coming in through the other way.
All right, very good. All right, so we've got that scheduled, thank you. All right, so next agenda, item 6, review the notice from interim town administrator Robert Nunes regarding the annual town meeting scheduled for June 10th. I have it in my hand and I'll read it for the people at home. To all department heads, Freetown Lakeville Superintendent of Schools, the Old Colony Superintendent Director, all boards, all town boards, committees, and commissions. From Robert Nunes, interim town administrator, regarding the annual town meeting, June 10th of 2024. The date of the memorandum is February 14th, 2024. At their meeting held on February 12th of 2024, the select board voted to open the warrant for the annual town meeting to be held on June 10th of 2024. June 10th of 2024. In accordance with the town's bylaws, please submit any articles for the annual town meeting warrant by Monday, April 8th, 2024 at 4 p.m. Thank you for your cooperation, and please do not hesitate to contact my office if you have any questions. Okay? Reviewed. Okay, so any other business that may properly come before the meeting? One, just very quickly, it's not new business, but it's more of a question about the teeth of the committee. I mentioned this in the past. Our title is Master Plan Implementation Committee, but Mr. Chamberlain actually had a really great point, and that was, were we always known as the Master Plan Implementation Committee? Because on LakeCAM, we're the master plan.
Yep.
No implementation in sight.
Oh.
I don't know if it's because of real estate on LakeCAM or other factors, but that notwithstanding, if we have implementation in our committee name, we've heard it from Ari 1,000 times, we're not a policy setting committee, right? We don't really have any teeth. We can only ask and beg.
And none of our decisions set any kind of precedent.
Right, so we have the responsibility in name, but without the authority.
Yeah.
So to that end, would we want to consider at some point in the very near future to see if we can get authority, and if so, how do we go about doing that? Through the select board or the proper channels? And then if the authority is granted, what authority do we have?
And what does it do to our workload?
Well, that's right. Well, these are the factors that we have to take into consideration, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, we've been doing this a long time. We lost a member before because there was a lot of talk and no action, right? And I just feel that we're at that point right now that we really need to have some teeth. And if we don't, then, I don't know the future of the committee.
But I'm all in favor of that, but aren't we banging up against the heads of each one of the commissions then?
Oh, no, we gotta ask. I mean, it does not hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And look at other towns in the Commonwealth to see if they're charged, because we talked about
I did
updating the charge.
Looked at like 20 different communities.
Yeah.
What their title is.
And?
Tried to find charges.
Yep.
I shared it with the committee.
Yep.
Last year. But
Is-
I think, we can't implement the items, but we can stay informed by the different boards. What are they?
Right.
Yeah,
No,
can't you say to them, well, how soon can we get this? Could we say, we think this is more important than this, and can you get your commission to get this accomplished by?
Yeah, because we've picked our priorities, what we
I
want
think
to
that's
what
we
get
should be.
done.
Well, and
Correct.
I think too, you got a couple of things that, one, I think our teeth is that we're keeping the master plan in everybody's mind right now too.
Right.
I mean, it's not that document that's gathering dust on the shelf, and,
Right.
and the fact that we're meeting with the various committees and whatnot, that keeps it in their mind. I'd be loath to sit there and try to have teeth to basically tell the Conservation Commission what to do, or the planning board or something. They've got enough of their own.
So maybe
I
the
think-
teeth is in the
yeah, but
way
it's
of
still
the,
so
of
much-
the communication then?
I think
Is that-
it's that, and I
Okay.
also think we have to, we're also kind of midway through the plan.
Yeah.
And so we are at that kind of lull, cause we don't have to, I mean, let's be honest, we're not gonna, this goes till 2030, but we're gonna start the work on the new plan long before 2030,
will.
and that's, again, when our workload goes up. So
Right.
I think there's, in some ways, it's just kind of enjoying the lull right
The
now.
lull, okay,
Yeah, because
I
we
can
should be
appreciate
starting
that.
in 2027,
Yeah,
right,
you
correct.
know, starting with the workshops.
And it's gonna come quick.
Yeah,
and it
We're
will
already
come quick,
twenty
yeah.
twenty-four, so, okay, fair enough, it's just food for thought, so, just wanna make sure that,
so maybe what we do is, meet with, you know, once we have the 5-member board,
continue to meet with them, continue to get the summary updates, whether,
yeah,
they can present at, you know, to us formally once a year, or
Yep.
whatever the frequency is. I'd like to, at some, if possible, is to get a summary statement, during town meeting, you know, whether it's me or somebody else on the board to stand up at town meeting and, hey, we're the master plan implementation committee, this is what we do, and this is where we're at, because we have a captive audience.
so I would check with the town moderator, you're a good speaker.
Yeah, you're the best
Rodney?
one to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
You
Hey now,
You just got volunteered.
voluntold.
Voluntold.
So
You
was in the
should know
military.
more
Yeah,
about it than I do.
voluntold. No, I have no problem speaking publicly, so, no, I just wanna make sure that we're, you know, getting the word out and, you know, I know that these meetings are on, this is long for us, right? It's, been an hour, just a little over an hour, so it's a little bit long for us, but anyway, open to any suggestions, open to any, you know, feedback whatsoever. And,
But the committee's okay with me updating it, not
oh, yeah, absolutely.
distributing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Get it to Tracy to get it on the website, I'll distribute it to the Board of Selectmen.
Right,
Yep.
thank you. We appreciate it, okay. So
So moved.
Second,
not hearing any, all in favor, aye, to adjourn, aye. Well, thank you all very
Thank you.
much, we
Ooh,
appreciate
7:10.
that.